This video is not going to be that serious. This one is going to be a little bit fun for me. So, Tucker Carlson calls Taylor Swift a fake entertainer. I really don't know what that means. And before I dive more into that, there's a couple things I want to say. One, this is why I'm becoming an even bigger and bigger fan of Taylor, because she makes the right-wing media in the Republican Party just absolutely melt. And it's like she's not even trying. All she has to do is basically just put her face in front of a camera and just be alive and breathe. And Republicans they just go all over the place. I said, I like that. Now, here's the other thing. Just to give you a little bit of background here. So Tucker Carlson is a Republican who worked at Fox News from 2009 to 2023. And as most of you know, Fox News is a pro-Republican, right-wing conservative network, along with like Newsmax and Breitbart and OAN and the Daily Wire, stuff like that. Now, let me bring up something that was revealed just over a year ago. Somebody here posted this is The Guardian, and many other sources confirm this, because it was a little bit of a big thing in political circles. So Tucker Carlson secretly hates Donald Trump. Is anybody surprised? I don't know whether to be surprised about that, because on one hand, it's like, well, he's a Republican and he works at Fox News and they're going to shield for Trump. So it's like, if that's really how you feel, what are you doing working there? But it says right here, Carlson has been caught out of character. Is it over for him? Somehow, I don't think so. This is what Arwa Madawi, I think that's her name. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. That's what she said in The Guardian. He says, I hate him passionately. Thanks to new court filings in a $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit against Fox News, we now know exactly how the network's star host, Tucker Carlson, really feels about Donald Trump. 2 days before the insurrection at the Capitol, around the same time that Tucker Carlson was publicly singing Trump's praises to his audience of millions, he was also sending private texts to members of his staff and how much he despised the guy. It's almost like Tucker Carlson doesn't believe a single word he says on TV. You don't say. The text message wasn't some one-off. The court documents are full of juicy little examples of Carlson bashing Trump. During the 2020 presidential election, for example, Carlson told his producer that Trump was a terrible businessman. He said all of his businesses fail. What he's good at is destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. In another text sent the day after the Capitol riots, he described Trump as a demonic force, a destroyer. And in yet another text, he called Trump's presidency a disaster. Weirdly, none of those opinions made it onto his show. While these text messages may have only been exposed recently, it's hardly a revelation that Carlson's public and private views frequently diverge. Hunter Biden, Joe's prodigal son, for example, is a frequent subject of ridicule and ire on Fox News. In the real world, however, Tucker Carlson seems to have rather different views towards Hunter. While Tucker has admitted that he was close to Hunter in the past, he hasn't exactly been enthusiastic about publicly publicizing how cozy their relationship was. Last year, it was revealed that back in 2014, Carlson and his wife asked for Hunter's help in getting their son Buckley into Georgetown University. Hunter graciously agreed to write a letter of recommendation. Buckley didn't end up at Georgetown. However, as the Washington Post noted at the time, Carlson's emails with Hunter show how Carlson once sought to benefit from the elite political circles in Washington, that he now regularly rails against the ruling class. Carlson, let's also remember, also likes to rail against affirmative action in university admissions, saying that a meritocracy is the only fair way to run a society. I'm not sure that asking the then vice president's son to help get your spawn into university is meritocracy. So this goes on for a bit, and this goes on for a while. So what does it say? It says that Tucker Carlson is fake. But it's funny how a lot of the people on the right, or people in the center who, let's say, they lean towards the right, and people who support Trump, it's funny how They will bash anybody who is anti-Trump, but then this comes out revealing he's anti-Trump, but then they still welcome him into their circle. They must think, oh, well, this is probably just some made-up story that CNN and MSNBC conjured up. Maybe Biden and Harris and Pelosi and Hillary and Obama, maybe these people are behind it and it's all a big lie. Well, if that was the case, Tucker Carlson would have came out and said that, be like, no, that's not true. I'm actually a huge supporter of Trump, and I've voted for him both times, and I'll continue to vote for him as long as he's running. So now what does all this have to do with this video? Again, this goes back to him saying Taylor Swift is a fake entertainer. What I don't understand is, so what does fake entertainer mean? First of all, that, and of course, he and a lot of the right wing will go along to say stuff like, oh, well, some people, I don't know if he specifically said this, but a lot of the right wing circles, people said she can't sing or blah, blah, blah. And some of them called her a demonic, I think, or whatever. Well, let's go over this right here. Let's look at the number of followers on Twitter. Tucker Carlson, 13 million. Taylor Swift, 95 million. Instagram, Tucker Carlson has almost 4 million. Taylor Swift has 284 million. YouTube subscribers, Tucker Carlson has almost 3 million. Taylor has 59 million. TikTok, Tucker, 2 million. Taylor, 32 million. Also, net worth. Tucker Carlson's net worth is estimated to be from anywhere from 30 million to 370 million. Okay, that's kind of a wide gap right there. Like, some sources said 25 to 30 million. One said 35 million. One said 370 to 380 million. Okay, fine. Even if I were to, those numbers are too wide apart. So it's like, if you said 25 to 30 million, that makes sense. Or 40 to 45 million. Like, if it was like a $5 million gap, or even if it was 10 million, like let's say 30 to 40 million or 40 to 50 million, that would make more sense to kind of get an idea of where they're at. But let me just take the highest number just for the sake of the conversation. Let's say Tucker Carlson is worth $380 million. Matter of fact, I can even bump that number up a little bit. Let's say 400 million. Tucker Carlson worth $400 million. Taylor Swift is worth $1.3 billion. And listen, I'm not really a fan of her music. I'm not going to pay to go to her concert or anything like that. But obviously, these people, especially when you're a singer or any other entertainer, that's what you do. You go out, you perform, you entertain your fans, you make money. I don't see what exactly is fake about that. I think somebody had put in the comment section of the one YouTube video I was watching where Tucker was saying she was fake. How is she this rich and famous? How can somebody like her be rich and famous? Well, that's easy. She, just like anybody else that you watch that's in Hollywood or in celebrity circles, how they're rich and famous. Because they act, they sing, they do comedy, they write, they do, even people in the political circles, they do political commentary. That's how they get rich and famous. They build their fan base based off of, whatever it is they're doing. And so if you're a singer and people like your voice and your music, that's going to grow your fan base. If you're a stand-up comedian and you're really hilarious, you build more of a fan base. If you're a great actor, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Vin Diesel, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, whoever it may be, that's how you get rich and famous. I mean, those are some ways to get rich and famous outside of other things, but I'm talking mostly about the entertainment stuff. So this guy has a net worth of $400 million. Good number, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. She's got a net worth of $1.3 billion. His followers on social media range from 2 million to 13 million. Hers range from 32 million to 284 million. So for you to sit here and say she's fake, well, look at this thing about you. You're saying one thing about a particular person in public, but then saying a completely different thing in private, which also, now that I'm just now thinking about this, you know what that leads me to believe? It leads me to believe that while you're saying this stuff about her publicly, same way you did with Trump, you might say nice things about her in private. What if you're texting your friends and saying, you know what, I think she's a really amazing entertainer. I've actually been to her concert and I've talked to her and I've shook her hand and we've spoken and she's really friendly and nice. And, she's really helped kind of shift some of my views over and I can see why she's If something like that comes out, that is going to be one of the absolute most hilarious things in the world. I would love to see something like that come out. But, and one of the last points I'm going to make is this. this term Swiftie, which basically means people who are fans of Taylor Swift's music. They go to her concerts. They obsess over her, all that stuff. I'm definitely not in that camp, but I can go so far to say this. And I'm probably the first person to even use this phrase, this term. I think I just made this up. As far as what she's doing music-wise, I could think one way or the other. I mean, yeah, you go out, you sell out these arenas, make your money, have fun, all that. In terms of what she's doing politically, I absolutely love it. I love that she goes out there and she's, for each speech or whatever concert thing that she's doing, she is getting tens and tens and tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of young people, especially people who are 18, 19, and in their 20s, like 18 to 29 group, people out there registered to vote. She was one of the few people who did that in 2018 and 2020 alongside some other, high profile pro-Democrat celebrities. You had Oprah, you had Miley Cyrus, you had Kevin Bacon, Kira Sedgwick, Kristen Davis, all those people that were out there. I think Dwayne Johnson was one of them too, a number of them. And as far as the phrase that I think I just made up, I would call myself I might be a political Swiftie. Yes, I just made that up. If anybody thought of that term and phrase before me, let me know. Let me know tell me when you thought about that. And you're like, I never thought of it that way. I don't follow her music, but I love her politically. So once again, Taylor Swift continues to do a great job by triggering the right. It's always about triggering the libs, triggering the left. Taylor Swift is excellent when it comes to triggering the right, triggering the conservatives, triggering the cons, I guess you could call them. The liberals are the libs, the conservatives are the cons, the libs, the cons, I guess. I don't know. You tell me. So, other than that, Tucker Carlson is fake. And Taylor Swift does an amazing job. And I hope she keeps at it. So, like and subscribe. I got more coming.